So this is the app that I already exported before this webinar, and this is again generated by Locofy. So Locofy is already following the best structure when it comes to generating front-end code and placing it in relevant folders. So let's just go over it, and then we'll also see what are the folders that you need while you're extending the code. So over here, you can see that Locofy has generated a pages folder. And in the pages folder in Next.js, it is a reserved work. So whatever you write over here will automatically be converted to a single page. It has even generated a public folder, which is kind of a reserved work in Next.js as well. So whatever you place over here will be considered a media asset that you can use in pages and components. The components folder here is actually something that is opinionated, and like people oftentimes, they instead of using components, they use UI. However, it is an industry standard to use components as the folder name. So Locofy is already using the best practices over here, and it has created this components folder and placed some icons over here. Now, what if you want to extend your code and you want to write some logic over here to, for example, fetch the data? Now, what you can do is you can write a simple fetch function over here and start fetching the data, right? Now, what if you again want to do another fetch operation saying a logging page? Now, the issue is that you keep repeating the same syntax every time over and over again. So because we are using React over here, and this is a client-side operation, what we can do, we can create another folder called hooks. And in the hooks folder, we can create a hook, for example, called use fetch. And in the use fetch hook, basically we can write the logic to fetch the hook, fetch the data, and then we can over here simply basically perform an operation something like this. So we can like use fetch, and then we can get the data from over here. Now, this is for the hooks, right? Now, what if we have already fetched the data from our hooks and performed complex operations on it? And now, for example, if I'm on the sign up page, I want to pass this information to another page or to another component. For that, what we recommend is actually creating a context folder. So over here, you can store your regex, your decoil, or context API files. Now, the reason these folders are separate is because as your apps will grow, you will quickly see that you will have multiple hooks. So you will have hooks for use auth, for example. You will have hooks, you will have context API, for example, say user's cake, and then you will have some another context for you can say something like use data, for example, or something like that. So the entire point over here is they should be ideally isolated, and both the folders and the files that you will be storing over here should ideally be used on the client side. Okay, so that's an important point that you should keep in mind. Okay, now finally, these two folders are for client side. Now let's look at the server side. So in server side, again, you can create a folder called server, and over here you can add files that you will use on the server. Now, why are we creating this folder over here and isolating the logic when we can directly write some complex logic over here, right? So in this page, for example, let me just quickly show you the problem that we will face. Okay, so imagine that this is like a random function. Okay, so let me just write a random function over here that will return some data. Okay, in real world, of course, this is not so simple and this will be very complicated. Now, what we are doing is we are basically returning the auth data that we have. Okay, now this will, whatever value is over here will be returned, right? And then this will be passed on to the sign up. Now, whatever, for example, just imagine that this is a function that will check the user's authenticated state. Now, the issue is you will actually, for example, this is usually when you do user authentication, you don't restrict yourself to a single page. So you go to login page, And now you again over here, you want to check that, hey, how am I, is the user logging or not? So ideally, or what normally people do is that they copy paste the same code over here, they check the user authenticated, and then they pass the data back to the page. Now you have multiple pages over here, and over time, you will see that it becomes not only redundant to basically write the same thing again and again, it also becomes pretty hard for you to maintain, because say tomorrow suddenly you are changing your library from say Superbase to org0. Then you have to go in all of these folders and you have to rewrite all of them. So what you can ideally do is, for all of these server operations, you can actually copy this. Then you can go to server and you can create a file over here, say org.js, and you can export it. Now, if we were to get the same thing over here, it will become very easy. So over here, we can just write org, and we will get this function. Over here, we can do the same. So all your server operations, it is recommended that you create a folder called server and you place it over there. Now, the benefit of this is, for example, if tomorrow suddenly I want to change this, I can just write for, and all the apps that need this function will actually get this updated value. Okay. Now, finally, you will also be formatting and you will also be performing some miscellaneous logic in your app. So for example, I want to create a function that will say return a date to me. So let me just show you. Say I have like a date object over here and I want to like format it. Okay. So what I can do is I can do something like this equals to, and I want something like, say, for now I just want local string. Okay. Now I'm using the string over here somewhere. Okay. Just in this example, we will again dive deep into all of this in the next section. So for example, you're using it over here. Now it will be pretty weird, right? If you are using local string on this page, and say on sign up page, you are using local kind string or something like that. So usually in your app, you should maintain the uniformity by using the same formatting and same whatever configurations you have. So for this kind of things, what you can do, you can again create another folder and you can call it utils, or you can call it helper functions, whatever you prefer. So I usually call it utils. And over here, you can place something like JS, and whatever logic we were writing, you can write over here. So you can write something like gate formatter, and this will get a prop. So let me return something like now. Okay. So let me write a very simple function right now, and then I'll show you the practical benefits of creating a separate folder and moving it over here. Yep. So right now I have this function, and let me actually return this. Okay. Now what I can do over here is I can simply call this function. So I can say something like this, gig formatter, and I can say pass new gig over here. And now if I run this function, right, let me go back to my app. So over here, you can see that finally this is working. And so right now this is showing you this format, right, that we have over here. Now, the benefit of this is, for example, if you go to the sign up page, I can use the same function on the sign up page to format my gig. Okay. Now, suddenly, say tomorrow my client is saying, oh, I don't want to use local gig string. I want to use just say local string. Now, instead of going into all the pages and again doing the formatting, what you can do, you can just go to the utils, you can go to this file and you can change it. And now you can see that it changed. Okay. So over here, we saw 4 folders basically. We saw context and hooks, which are client-side folders. So whatever logic you have in client-side, you can place over here. And in server, we saw that you should place your server logic in over here. So functions that you plan on reusing multiple times. So for example, getting the stake of the user, getting the auth stake of the user, or getting fetching a list of things that a user has, basically any database query that you think you will repeat every time. All of these items should be placed in server folder. And the utils folder is mainly for some miscellaneous logic that you plan on repeating every time. So usually over here, we don't place any client side or server side code. Usually we use utils folder to basically like formatting code and like a gate formatter that we saw over here, and other sort of operations. So something like image resizing, a function to resize the image, or to add a all cat to an image, something like that. So all of these functions, they are best placed in utils folder.